This video is a little bit longer than usual, but I wanted to leave in our decision-making process because this wasn't something we took lightly, and I also think it's important just to kind of understand how we make decisions in general, as I think we do a pretty good job of communicating with one another, and we have kind of this unspoken kind of pattern to how we make decisions, whether it's a project or something like the weather's doing something or whatever's going on. We basically make a verbal pro and con list, and then we take the cons and we basically pick them apart and find out if there's anything that we can do to mitigate any of them and get them onto a pro list or just get them to go away.
Right.
And so you'll see us doing that, and I wanted to leave it in because I think this was a really great example of kind of how we talk through these kinds of projects. And we do it with a lot of things, and not to this depth with like little things, but this was cutting a chunk of our mast off. So we went a little bit further, and really I narrowed what was probably a full hour and 15-minute conversation down to about 4 minutes in here. So I did cut quite a bit out, but I left the general gist of it because sometimes we do find ourselves just talking in circles, and I cut a lot of that out. So
there was a lot of circles in that one.
There was. I think I just had a lot of anxiety about it. That was all, because it was a very permanent decision.
No. Yes.
Yes.
Yes, it's not a decision that could be taken lightly or undone.
Yeah, we couldn't exactly just like put the chunk of mast back on. So we took a little bit longer than we usually do to make the decision this time around, but we wanted to let you in on how that goes. So here goes nothing with our mast renovation, if you will.
Chopping.
This is the masthead off the boat. It's in pretty good shape, but the ears are a little thin for my taste. You really can't buy replacements or beefed up or anything like that because the extrusion is not made anymore. So I got this aluminum plate here. I'm just going to cut out some pieces of aluminum to go on either side to kind of beef it up a little bit, make it even stronger. As you think about it, it's held into the top of the mast with rivets. It seems kind of scary, but if you think about it, this is pulling down and this is pulling down. So there's really nothing, the rivets aren't even necessary because it's held into the top of the mast by the tension on the forestay and the backstay. So the load comes up, over, and down. So those two side plates can make this nice and strong. Probably way too strong, but
better safe than sorry.
Better safe than sorry. So that thickens up that tab by about 50%. No, 200%. So now I just got to drill them out. So I've drilled these by bolting it together first and then drilling through this hole to make this hole. That way everything lines up perfectly and the pin just slides in. I'll be selling these to other Albergers for $89.99. Let's go another 50.
If you've been watching for a while, you may remember back in the fall when Andy discovered a rather large crack at the top of our mast. He originally planned to build a reinforcement plate, but once he started pounding away at it, he had another idea.
This damaged section on the mast here. And Gwen and I have been talking this out for a few minutes. And we're talking about, rather than patching this with like a piece of metal, riveted on top, what if I just cut the mast 2 7/8 inches shorter? Her shrouds aren't affected. Main halyard's not affected. The jib will sit 2 7/8 inches lower, which means the Alberg 30 Association will not like us. We'll be no longer class legal.
We're not class legal anyway because our traveler is in the middle of the boom. We can't race anyway. And since when have we ever raced? And Aiden Johns, get back on the boat.
Where are you going? Go back on the boat. Come on. Come on. Go, 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 go. Climb.
So this is only a weird flag halyard that's not actually
Has been used in decades.
Has never been used. Okay. This is not affected. Shrouds are not affected. It won't affect.
It's below the upper shroud point attachment. The upper shroud tang, whatever this thing is, right?
My biggest concern is the jib and the furler setup.
So there's some wiggle room in the jib and furler.
How much wiggle room?
6 inches I added in.
But did we need that 6 inches to clear?
No, I did all the calculations and I added an extra 6 inches just in case.
We like to call it wiggle room.
Wiggle room?
For things just like this.
It's freaking scary. It's to cut a big chunk of your mast off. All right, but I did the math, and cutting 3 inches off of a 35-foot mast is only 0.7% of its total length.
Yeah.
So, I don't know.
I think we should sleep on it.
I think we should sleep on it too. It's scary.
It's never going to be 100%. If I cut that off, we are 100%.
Mechanically, it's not changing anything. It's minusculely changing the angle of the forestay and backstay.
We're installing new wires anyway, so it's not a big deal at all.
Right. Nothing's been cut yet, and it wouldn't require any additional work that way.
Right. So we wouldn't make the. So we install the forestay, do the cables up, right, and then we take the forestay down with the mast up and install the furler and bring it back up. That's what we have. The big pro.
Is this clean?
This is clean. The mast goes back together with no stupid plates. Everything's nice and clean. Good metal. This is gone. Forgotten. I'll probably drop it in the water and it'll be gone forever.
We could clear a slightly...
That is a plus. We could clear a 3-inch lower bridge.
Are you coming up with any cons?
We can't pre-build the furler.
Yeah.
I have to go up the mast.
Yeah.
Well, hold on. We know the angles, right?
Mm-hmm. Oh, we could just do the trig.
We just do the trig and shorten up that shroud by that certain amount and just bolt it on. Plus, there's also like 3 inches of adjustment in the turnbuckles.
And I get to do trig.
If you do trig. So we'll find you the angle. Yeah. So we'll be able to do the math, figure it out, right?
Yeah, we could do the math, and I mean, there would be there'd be a little bit of room for error, but
there's 6 inches of adjustment in the turnbuckles.
So if we have 6 inches over the course of what?
Yeah. So, but also worst case scenario, shroud's too short, right?
Yeah.
We throw another toggle at the bottom. Worst case is too long. We undo it, cut a little bit off, redo our connection, buy in $15 sleeve for it. And I bought a couple extra sleeves because I'm not stupid.
I don't hate that idea. And I also think that that's actually probably, like, if we could figure out we can figure out the math.
Yeah.
It's a right triangle. It's not like it's
anything.
It's not anything difficult.
Nothing crazy. I guess you do it in SolidWorks real quick.
That would still allow us to build the furler, which is the only downside that we can think of. And if worst case scenario, there's like an inch, we're off by an inch, and we have to deal with a turnbuckle issue.
Right, and we just use the jib tie as the forestay for a couple days until the new turnbuckle comes in or something.
I don't hate this idea. It's growing on me.
We're planning on crossing oceans with this boat.
Yeah, I know.
This is going to be always in the back of our mind.
Yeah, I know. Okay. Making it better. I still think we need to sleep on it because I feel like cutting 3 inches off your mast is not something you just do without thinking about pretty thoroughly. Okay, a year and a half from now or 2 years from now, we decide to cross the Atlantic. Are you going to have a breakdown about this if we left it?
Probably. It'd probably be one of those things in the back of my mind. Just like the keel that I spent hours and hours and hours fixing.
Yeah. Yeah.
So one of those things in the back of your mind that you know it's not 100%.
Let's do it.
So we discussed it a lot. And we have come to the conclusion that our best plan is to cut almost 3 inches off the top of our mast, so we can get rid of all this, whatever this is up here. So I made a mark with Sharpie, and I came back in with a ruler and scribed the line at 1 7/8 inches. 2 7/8 inches.
That's definitely gonna fit. Okay, now that it's done, are you happy we did it?
Very happy.
Great.
Extremely happy. Couldn't be more happy when it comes to the Masthead.
Couldn't be more happy. All right. So now what's next?
Pop it out and rivet it in place.
What about running wires and stuff? Do we need to do that first?
Might be easier if we do that first.
Yeah, probably a good idea. All of these rigging related projects would have been much easier if we'd still been on land. But with our marina not allowing liveaboards on the hard, we didn't have much of a choice, but you might. And last but not least, the masthead was riveted in place. On our next episode, we'll put together our new roller furling system.